Hi everyone, this is Kevin here, coming at you with my hands-on and first impressions video of the new Oukitel K9. So let's get started. So if you're not familiar with Oukitel, they're a fairly established international brand that sells unlocked smartphones, typically in the budget range. And definitely with the K9, it is indeed a budget device. This retails at $239 and you can find this on Amazon, and I will be leaving a link in the video description. The device is factory unlocked for GSM carriers, so in the US it's going to work with AT&T and T-Mobile, as well as Metro by T-Mobile, Cricket, and smaller carriers like Mint Mobile. Another great thing about this phone too is that it is dual SIM, so you can put multiple SIM cards in this at once. But let's open this on up and see what all is inside. Now I did already set everything up on this device so that I'd save some time when making this video, but I did put everything back in the box as it normally is. But here is the phone. It features a massive 7.12 inch display at 1080p with a 350 ppi and a 19:9 aspect ratio. So a really massive, good looking display on the device, and that's definitely one of its core selling points. Now it does come with a clear plastic case, which is a great thing to see. I'm going to put the phone itself off to the side for a second here so that we can see what all is included inside of the box. We get some Oukitel literature, including a K9 quick start guide, warranty certificate, and some regulatory information. Another thing I'd like to mention too is that Oukitel was kind enough to send this phone out to me to review. However, all opinions expressed in this video are my own, and that's the way they wanted it to be. So also in the box, we get a SIM card removal tool, always a great thing to have. We have a USB-C to USB-A adapter here. We also have an adapter for USB-C to 3.5mm headphone jack. We get a USB-C cable for charging and data transfer. And we get a USB wall adapter that is a fast charger. So always great to see that we do get fast charging because this device features a really massive battery that I'll be talking about in a little bit. So as I mentioned before, we're getting a very large 7.12 inch display, and it seriously is probably the largest display I've ever used on a smartphone. But the good news is that the phone still does feel pretty good in the hand, at least for me, and since it does have a high PPI, the display itself does look really good. This is the black color of the device, which I think definitely does look sharp. Now up top here we have a teardrop notch, and in that notch is an 8 megapixel front-facing camera. I did verify that with the CPU-X application. The device features 64 gigabytes of internal storage with SD card expansion. There is no wireless charging with the Oukitel K9, but we do get a fingerprint sensor on the back. So we'll try that out right now. And that was very quick, so I'm glad that that fingerprint sensor is present on here. Also on the back is the camera, and you're getting a 16 megapixel main camera. And Oukitel advertises this phone as having a 2 megapixel secondary camera. However, when I went into CPU-X, which I'll show you right now, and I go to cameras, it only lists one camera here on the rear. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I'll let you come up with your own conclusion about that second camera. But with all of the other great specifications of this phone, I would not let that secondary camera be a deal breaker for you. And you'll see why in a little bit. Now the phone features 6 gigabytes of RAM and runs the MediaTek Helio P35 processor. Now in the full review video, I will be doing an Antutu benchmark test so you can get an idea of the kind of benchmark scores this phone is getting. But I have used the MediaTek Helio P35 in other devices, so I am expecting fairly decent performance with the K9. Of course, it's not going to get flagship level performance, but this phone is not being advertised as a flagship either. Now here's the best part about the Oukitel K9. This device features a 6,000 milliamp hour internal battery, and of course you're getting fast charging with it as well. But let that sink in. 6,000 milliamp hours. That is truly massive. And considering how large this phone is, it definitely makes sense that it would have such a big battery because there is a lot of space for that battery to be housed. Now the phone does feature Android 9 Pie as the operating system. It features Oukitel's custom launcher that does not feature an app drawer. So I did install this other launcher, which is a Pixel launcher, and you do get an app drawer with it. so you should definitely experiment with other launchers on the phone because you'll be able to gain a variety of features, including an app drawer. Now, video recording on the device maxes out at 1080p at 30 frames per second. Also on the back, we have the camera module, and it's just a single camera with a flash. So video viewing is great on the Oukitel K9. The reason for that is mostly due to its massive display. Now, the device doesn't have the best speakers I've ever heard, especially for even a phone in this price range. So if you are going to be watching content on here, you might want to consider plugging in headphones or connecting this to Bluetooth. But it does at least get the job done, that's for sure, but there's no doubt about it that watching content on this really massive display really is a game changer here, especially compared to other budget phones out there. You can always crop in as well for an even more immersive experience, which is great. Now take a look at the left side here. All we have is the slot for the micro SD card and SIM cards. Then on the right, we have the power button and volume button. Then on top, there's nothing. Then on the bottom, we have the microphone, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and the speaker. And then on the back of the phone, we have the camera module, we have the flash, and we have the fingerprint sensor. And I do like this finish on the back side of the phone. It's a nice glossy piano black. And then we have the Oukitel logo, so you can go over to Oukitel.com to learn more about this brand. So I will be diving a lot deeper into this phone in the full review video, but based off my first impressions, this phone does have a decent amount of things that make it unique. The biggest benefit of buying the Oukitel K9 definitely has to be its massive 7.12-inch display at 1080p. It's a nice looking display, especially for a budget device, and most importantly, it's very large. So it's going to make the device great for content consumption because you won't have to squint your eyes and you'll be able to see things on here quite a bit larger than you would with your typical smartphone. And the second main selling point with the device has to be its massive 6,000 milliamp hour internal battery. So those are really the two main features that I think make the Oukitel K9 stand out. Having 64 gigs of internal storage is nothing to complain about. And I'm also happy that the phone does feature 4 gigabytes of RAM, and the MediaTek Helio P35 is decent. So I'm really interested to know your thoughts about the Oukitel K9. Do you think it's a good phone to buy? Do you think 7.12 inches of display size is too big? I'm really curious to know what you think about the phone. But if you are interested in buying it, then take a look at the link in the video description to where you can pick it up on Amazon. I'd like to thank Oukitel again for being kind enough to send this phone out to me, and I am looking forward to covering more of their devices in the future. I definitely think this is a very up-and-coming brand, not necessarily a household name, but they have a ton of potential to really take some serious market share in the US. But thanks for watching. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at KevinBreezeTV. Almost at 1,000 followers on Instagram, which is really cool. But I'll see you in the next video.